How's it going, everybody? Thanks for coming back to this week's episode of the Binge Watch Brigade. This week we'll be stopping in to check on a little slime known as...
Rimuru Tempest.
Rimuru Tempest. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Aaron, you picked this one. I wasn't expecting this show to be what I expected it to be. The intro to this show is not really what I expected from the fantasy world that comes after, especially when you start within that normal world.
Right?
It just ended up being so much more than I expected, and I'm so happy that you recommended this one. How did you guys feel about the first, 3 episodes, the starting of the show? That's kind of really how I look at shows, is, at this point, I don't judge kind of a show until after, the 3rd, 4th episode-ish.
It starts a little slowish, because he's got to get his feet under him. Figuratively, of course.
I kind of liked the slow start because it kind of introduced you to base form Rimuru, right? Base slime, where all slimes kind of start, And then you start to realize this is not your ordinary slime. This is something much different.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he starts off really as just a guy who is just not interesting, really, is the best way I could put it, maybe. I mean, am I wrong? He basically just says he's not a risk taker. He's
just your average Joe. He's just a regular person.
I think his hard drives might be interesting.
Absolutely. Whenever in the very beginning of the show,
somebody should check his hard drives.
When in the very beginning of the show, he gets stabbed by a random incident, and he tells his coworker his dying wish is for him to take his computer and dunk it in a bathtub full of water to wipe his hard drive. Not the comedic piece that I was expecting from the very beginning of a show like this one.
As he's dying, he's like, I hope you and I forget her name, have a long and happy life together. You deserve it. Don't forget to wipe my hard drive.
Right? Well, and that even gets brought up a little while later where he's like, man, I really hope he got my hard drive. And then they cut to the scene.
I really hope he remembered to wipe my hard drive.
Then they cut to a scene with him carrying the computer into a bathroom and dumps it in and salutes. That's
a real friend.
That's a good buddy. That's a good
100%.
buddy. But also, I want to know what was on those hard drives.
I mean, would you guys wipe my hard drives whenever I die?
Probably elf cosplay.
I would take a look at them first. I'm going to be honest. I would take a look at them first to see if it was a crime and if it was like a heinous crime. If it was a heinous crime, I'd probably report you, if I'm being honest.
That's fair.
I'd be dead, so I guess it don't matter anymore, right?
Yeah, I'd turn it over. But if it was just your standard run-of-the-mill, adult entertainment, I'd be like, whatever, wipe it.
Facts. I really walked into the show with no expectations just because I hadn't seen anything about it. I really hadn't heard anybody who had watched it. And I did know that there were quite a few spin-offs or different, that time I got reincarnated as, or you know what I mean? There were a few of them that I had seen out there, but I hadn't watched any of them. So I really didn't have any expectations walking in, and I think I did tell you guys, I think it was episode 2, you guys asked how I thought about it, and I'm like, nothing's really happening. He died, he got reincarnated as a slime, which I still don't know 100% of what exactly happened, because there's, when he dies, he's describing how he's feeling. I'm hot, I'm cold, pain, and this entity, which ends up being the same voice as Great Sage later, which is one of his other abilities.
Well, you learn that it's called the voice of the world,
Yeah.
right? And you learn later that it is just, in fact, Great Sage.
Gotcha, okay. So as he's dying...
Great Sage is, in fact, the voice of the world. It's one and the same.
Okay, that opens up a little bit more for me. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense now. So that makes a few things a little bit more clear. But as he's dying, he starts talking about all these things he's feeling, and the the voice basically keeps saying like, "Oh, you have acquired the new skill of heat resistance and then cold resistance, but the fusion of cold and heat resistance is a temperature change resistance,
thermal fluctuation.
Yeah,
resistance.
thermal fluctuation. Yeah." And then the body doesn't feel pain because the gunshot hurt, and
the stabbing hurt. He didn't get shot.
Sorry. The stabbing hurt. The most broken ability he got was because he didn't have any luck with women, and as he's dying, he was thinking about hunting down women to take advantage of like sexuality. Which, how in the hell does that translate into an amazing ability like Predator?
Because he said, "I will be a predator."
True.
Which
that was the most suspect terminology.
The normal meaning for that is not good.
Use.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say the way he worded it was not great.
I think it's a little bit lost in translation. Hopefully, when it upgrades, which slight spoiler alert, it upgrades. The name change is more fitting. But
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
What did you guys think of the art style for this show? I actually really like it a lot. It's a little bit different, but I like it a lot.
It's not like amazing or anything, but it's good. It's really good.
I'm biased because it is my favorite anime.
Well, if you go by character design as part of the art style, then it's really good, I think.
Yeah, like the character design is amazing.
Yeah, just the different races, and then every time the races
like
evolve.
Ifrit's design is insane.
Yeah,
like,
Ifrit's
I love
sick.
Ifrit, Veldora. You see at the end of season 1, Diablo.
Yeah, I love Diablo's design. Noir's design.
Spoilers. Shit, I forgot. Noir.
Hey, you're just excited about all the spoilers you can drop because you know things.
I cannot wait until you watch season 2 so we can not spoil you.
I told you I'm not watching it until right before we do the next show to spoil our viewers of knowing that we're more than likely going to do another segment on the show because it was really good.
Well, it is my favorite anime, so it would make sense that we would revisit this.
Mm-hmm. Going into the art style, though, I'm looking at the music too. The music for this show was really good, man. I wasn't expecting that either.
The OP and endings are decent, but the music during the episode, the OST, is really good in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like the opening and the outro, they're decent, they're okay, but the music in general that goes on during the show, I thought was really good.
It's always like a fitting background too.
Right. One of the season 2 openings though is one of my all-time favorite openings. So
really,
also hyped for that. Yeah.
That actually shocks me a little bit. Are we really talking like more than special? Really?
Maybe. I've listened to it on Spotify way more than I've listened to specials.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Huh. I'll need to look into that. Huh. Oh,
I might tease you with just the song.
Did you guys have any favorite songs at all? I can't really think of anything that really stuck out to me, truthfully.
Not from season 1.
No.
Okay.
There's some... Okay, I'm done.
Going back to how the show started out, just because I have to talk about this, because it really was one of the biggest parts about this show that just dragged me in from the very beginning, was the dragon that just so happens to be trapped in a cave and then has been there for so long he just wants a friend.
He's hilarious.
Yeah.
When he plays hard to get.
I love Veldora.
When he plays hard to get, that's so funny.
Veldora is an absolute amazing addition to this show of just, he's an ancient dragon who, by the way, just casually drops in that he was in a town that was on fire and does not take any responsibility whatsoever.
Nope.
I was in a village and it just so happened to be on fire. But he does gift Rimuru with the gift of magic sense as long as he does two things, which is to not be scared of him whenever Rimuru can see him. And secondly, that was he has to stop in and see him every once in a while. Those were his two criteria, which Rimuru thought was a little bit lax for something that was supposed to be like a little bit powerful, you know? And then it turns out to be a giant freaking dragon that's a high-level monster who is trapped behind a magical barrier.
I just now realized, like, it just now dawned on me, like, I've watched this show a lot, right? I've watched this anime a lot. But Veldora has the ability to just bestow abilities on people?
I don't think that's what it was. I think he more or less described what he needed to do, and then he did it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of what happens. But...
yeah, he kind of just tells Rimuru how to go about doing it.
which his magic sense allows him to basically use the magicules in all things, essentially, to almost see, like, in... oh, damn, what's that called? Like, echolocation type of shit?
Yeah.
But he can actually see and hear things better with magic sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an amplified.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But he uses Predator to just take in Veldora because he wants to set Veldora free, and he can't because he can't analyze the barrier from both sides. So now he's just walking around with a immensely powerful being inside of him that he's just transporting around, trying to figure out a way to help him out before he dies.
Get in my belly.
Right?
In my belly.
Veldora is definitely one of the big characters that I feel like I can't wait until more things happen with him, because you have to know more things are going to happen with him, especially with how things transpired later on, when Rimuru starts absorbing other beings and you start seeing Veldora within, like, next to those beings. It's like, oh, there's a lot that could happen with this.
Yeah. Like Veldora and Ifrit having a...
Whoop. Whoop.
What the hell did you do? Almost tip something over?
Nope. Someone almost...
That was season 1.
Was it?
That was season 1.
Was it?
Veldora and Ifrit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, they met, but...
Yeah, they
feel like you were-
absolutely
Yeah,
did
in the
meet.
belly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was
I
talking
thought
about.
you were about to say something else.
Oh.
No. I learned my lesson.
Well, I mean, the main characters you first start seeing is, one, you have Rimuru, which he gets the name Tempest from Veldora, which, to be fair, Rimuru kind of gave Veldora that name.
No. Veldora named him Rimuru.
Correct. And then Rimuru named him
Rimuru gave him
Tempest.
the last name. Yeah, gave him the last name Tempest, and then Veldora wanted them to share the name.
Mm-hmm. So he gave him the full name of Rimuru Tempest.
Mm-hmm.
Which they don't really explain to you. Names are not a small thing in this world.
No, they're massive.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
big deal to get a name. And you start seeing
For
that a lot more
monsters.
later on. Yeah. You start seeing that a lot more later on.
Mm-hmm.
But from the very beginning, you see Veldora, you see Rimuru, you see the goblins that you get to run into. That's the first beings that he runs into, basically right out of the cave that he spawns in.
Well, first that he actually runs into, because he sees those adventurers.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's whenever he's leaving Veldora's, his cave that he's in. Yeah.
How
Which
about
just...
all the creatures that he fought down in there, and then he ate and then got all their abilities.
Mm-hmm. Which, that was a part that was kind of boring to me at first, of just like, oh, I feel like you could make this like a couple episodes of him just like really experimenting and like going crazy with his abilities and starting to learn all these things. And then I kind of figured out why. And
They
I
wanted to get to the dragon.
Well, they
Unlike
also
Game of
wanted to
Thrones,
just
which took forever.
They also just wanted to get to the actual story. Like, it's the amount of things that he had to kill to get the abilities that he was getting, because it's the Predator skill enables him to take in anything, really, an inanimate object or a living thing, allows him to take them in as long as he's stronger than them, because they can fight it. They do show you, like, a few beings are trying to fight it. He takes them in, he's able to analyze them, and then take all of their abilities, and then he can leave them inside of his, like, permanent storage thing, or he can spit them back out. So he also starts learning with his abilities how to manipulate those beings, which is really cool, too, because, like, he could even disguise himself so easily by just becoming another being that he has absorbed.
Or, just by being a slime and hiding.
Yeah. It does take him a long time to get a human body, though. That one took a while.
Mm-hmm.
What would you guys say, or would be some of the favorite characters that you ran into throughout the show?
Favorite for me is basically all of the ogres, honestly, but number one is Benimaru.
Yeah, the ogres are sick. I'm a big Soe fan. I'm also a big Shuna fan.
I honestly wish they gave what's his name? Rieger more show screen time. The son.
Yeah, I do too. He's the captain of the hunters.
Because he's pretty cool.
Definitely.
Gobta gets all the screen time out of the goblins.
Well, that's because Gobta is Gobta. Okay?
Gobta is the original G.
For sure.
Dude, Gobta's the GOAT, and
he's the real chief.
Yeah, he's the real chief. Like,
well, in the beginning, he's got to save. Rimuru ends up like taking all of his abilities that he learned, and he saves the goblins, and then he decides to give them all names, which ends up being a surprise to the goblins because Rimuru just doesn't freaking know. And then just the progression of he saves the goblins from the direwolves. He ends up naming all the goblins and one direwolf before he passes out. Coincidentally enough, the direwolf he names is the son of the head of the clan, which he killed in front of the clan. Very brutally, by the way.
Very.
Using his water blade to just cut its head off after he restrained it with these magical, like, not magical, but the fibers that he,
the threads.
Yeah, the threads that he,
the spider threads.
because he absorbed that spider creature. Like, that death is so brutal, and it is actually a point of conversation that happens later on, because Rimuru names the wolf Ranga, and he ends up basically just becoming the familiar of Rimuru.
Yeah, they become really close.
Mm-hmm. And they have a very serious conversation at one point where Rimuru asks Ranga how Ranga can take his orders and not want to kill him. And Ranga even admits, it took a minute, but then I realized that you are, what does he say? Basically a pure being who is very powerful, who is somebody that Ranga feels like he could follow and respect. And I mean, let's be honest, he is. Like, he's a very, very, very just leader.
Very much.
And after he helps deal...
He's also got some juice, like...
Oh, dude, he's got all the sauce.
Oh, the sauce.
Like, you want the smoke dog?
Rimuru...
He'll bring it.
I love how Rimuru was a very shy, timid guy, and then once he becomes Rimuru, he realizes he can reinvent himself, so he just starts becoming, like, a badass, because he also knows that he's, like, strong as shit for some reason.
Like, one of my favorite scenes from season 1 is against the ogres, and he just uses the black flame, right? And he's just shooting it up in the air, and Shuna's just like, yeah, that usually eats the molecules in the air. That's how it works. But his is using his own magicules, and you're just like, oh shit, this guy's juiced.
Oh yeah.
He's on that gear.
I think whenever he took out the what are they called? The storm dragons? The whatever Veldora is.
Yeah.
Because whenever Rimuru is helping teach at the college later on in the show, he takes out one of those things, and I was like, "Isn't that
It's
the
just
same?"
a drake, I think.
Oh, that was.
Oh, the wyvern.
The wyvern, yeah. That's
Oh,
what
okay. It was a wyvern. Okay, I swear I thought they had heard that was. I heard them
The
say
yeah, the bone wyvern or whatever.
that was attacking the college. Just to mention it, because we're talking about characters, I fucking hate Gabiru so much.
I love Gabi.
I also like Gabiru, but he sucks at first.
I feel like he has so much potential because he is a strong fighter. He is very strategic because when you look at the order that things go in, goblins get saved by the dire wolves, then orcs start attacking all of the ogres, and the ogres end up becoming in this little pact with Rimuru in the town that he's building, and they end up coming in and evolving because Rimuru gives them names, and then they end up going to the lizard people because the lizard people are basically who are the next target for this orc army. Which, by the way, I wasn't expecting the orcs to be like pigmen. That's
what orcs are.
I truly wasn't expecting that at the very beginning. I feel like I was just expecting the traditional like Lord of the Rings orcs.
Well, other than those ones, they're mostly pig orcs in most fantasy things.
Yeah, I think it's just that's what I think of as like a stereotypical mainstream orc.
Well, yeah, those are Tolkien orcs though. These are different orcs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Which the massive orc army, would they say it was like 150,000 or 250,000 troops?
Something like that. It was massive.
It's unrealistically huge. And this army, I love how they just continue to chant, "Trudge ahead." Like,
yeah.
they are mindless orc zombies that have one goal, and that's to devour anything and everything in their path. Because you see an orc they have like a cutscene where this orc is walking through a desert with a towel over his head, and a being comes up to him wearing one of those like the doctor masks from the bubonic plague type of situations with like welder's goggles.
Yeah, the plague doctor mask.
Yeah. Shows up and decides to give him, not only does he give the orc a name, but he also tells him that he is going to be the new demon lord of the Jura Forest, which that's insane as it is. I mean, let's be realistic. Rimuru is kind of at this point taking over the Jura Forest.
Yeah, but at this point he rules over a very, very small part of it.
Yeah.
At that point anyway.
At this point they had just recruited the dwarves from I always forget what the name of that city is. It's the city of the dwarves.
Dwargon.
Yeah, Dwargon. It's the city of the dwarves. So he ends up managing to recruit
the armed nation of dwarves.
He ends up recruiting the master artisans for his city like he wanted to, because they needed help with clothes, ironworking, metalworking in general. They needed city builders and planners. So the initial goal was just to get more resources, and they came back with artisans, master artisans at that. So they've got the dwarves going at this point. They have the goblins going in. The dire wolves are part of it. The ogres are moving into the mix as well. So his town's definitely growing at this point when the orc army battle starts to happen.
Yeah, and the ogres come because the orcs attacked and destroyed their village.
Mm-hmm. And the orc that was given a name was also given a special ability called Starved, which is more a curse than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So he has unnatural thirst, and all of the orcs will have the same hunger within them that he does. And if they eat each other or a being on the battlefield they eat, they will all... This is the part I don't 100% remember. Is it that the one who ate them increases, or they all do?
The one who ate them.
That's what I thought. I was like, I can't remember it being that broken. It's like playing a Magic game all over again. Is it all slivers or just my slivers?
All slivers need to die.
I agree. My elves will put up a fight and then they will be succumb to the evil wiggly worm things.
Danger Noodle.
Yeah, danger noodles. Have you ever been beaten by a wet spaghetti noodle? But with that orc attack going in on the lizard people, that's where you meet Gabiru, and I was so excited about the Lizard King's voice actor being the voice actor for so many Dragon Ball Z characters and other works, which is the voice actor for Vegeta, Piccolo, Raccoon, so many people in DBZ.
It's Christopher Sabat, right?
Yes. Which you said the voice actor for Yusuke Urameshi was in here, but I was listening for it. I haven't looked it up who it is yet.
The three humans that go into the cave and then they come to the town, the Goblin Town eventually.
Mm-hmm.
The leader of that group is Yusuke.
Okay, so that they're only in the show for like a couple of episodes, so makes kind of sense why I've missed it. But the Goblin King is the voice actor for Ogre in Yu Yu Hakusho, though, and every time I hear him talk, it makes me smile a little bit, and I'm just waiting on Koenma to just pop out of nowhere and just bitch smack him.
I can't remember if Koenma's in here at all.
I'm refusing to look right now because I'm just trying to pick out the voices just because we've been watching so many anime that have the same voice actors in them. Like, I've been watching so many voice actors that have the Yamashita from Kengan Ashura. I've been hearing that guy's voice in so many places lately. Mm-hmm. But going back to it, the lizard people, Vegeta is the Lizard King. His son Gabiru is a fucking bitch, and I hate him.
Oh, the Lizard King is also Kuwabara.
The brave Kuwabara. I've got a sword. The pinky
There's just a lot of
love.
really, really well-known voice actors in Slime.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just adds to just how good this show is. Is like the voice actors in it are fantastic. The art style is good. The in-show music is great. Overall, this is actually a pretty well covered whenever they came to like talent.
Do you guys think who do you think is the most like overrated character?
Overrated? Oh man.
That's a good question. I don't.
Do you think any characters in Slime are overrated or underrated?
Underrated. Gobta has got to be the most underrated character.
No.
He's the only one that underrates himself.
Gappa underrates himself.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I think the Tensei Slime community as a whole, right? I think everybody can agree that Gapta is the real leader of Jura, of Tempest.
The Jura Tempest Federation.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say he's underrated.
I don't know, man. I don't know if anyone's overrated or even underrated. I don't.
Do you wish any characters got like more screen time?
Yeah, well, yeah, Rigurd. I really wish Rigurd got more screen time.
I could see that.
I wish Hakuro got more screen time.
Yeah, that's fair.
I kind of just want more Ogre screen time.
I want
obviously.
I want
Shion.
more.
Shion kind of dominates the screen time.
I want more Kaijin, man. That's just who I want to see more.
I do agree with that. I would like more Kaijin screen time as well.
I think there's two very big reasons why Shion has as much screen time as she does.
Yeah, specifically two.
Yes.
Big reasons.
Yeah. No more, no less, just two.
There's one thing that all I could think of the first initial sighting of Shion is I was like, oh, it's fuck, I just had the name in my head.
Not the first initial. You mean after she became an Oni?
After she became named.
Or not Oni, Kijin? I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah, after she was named, you're thinking Rangiku.
Yeah, Rangiku. And I brought it up to my wife, and the first thing she said is, why? Because she has giant knockers? I was like, no, not that wasn't. I mean, that was my first initial thought, yes, but after that, it just makes me think back to when Rangiku went over to Orihime's and was trying to post herself up while she's in the human world. Just like they have the same kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm. The only difference is the way they treat their not senior, they're like leader. Because Rangiku kind of makes fun of hers a lot, and then Shion just nothing but adoration to Rimuru.
To be fair, everyone under Rimuru is a simp for Rimuru.
Everyone, every single person.
They would all throw hands with anybody who disrespects him.
Shion is number 2, following closely by somebody else in season 2, but for right now it's probably Shuna.
Shuna would. I don't think we've ever actually seen Shuna angry. I think that's gonna be terrifying to see.
Mm-hmm. It might be.
Are there any?
It's the quiet people that are really scary when they get angry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're talking about the princess, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, the Kaijin princess. She is somebody that I really want to see because they do mention during the initial fight with Rimuru that she does have a decent bit of magical power within her.
She's a mage, like.
Yeah. So I'm curious after she got named what she's capable of because they haven't shown anything as of now.
We'll just have to find out.
All you've seen is with her mostly, which is kind of a little off, is the only time you really ever see her anymore is when she's in the bathhouse that Rimuru had built. That's pretty much it.
Pretty much. For now.
Are there any huge fights that you really liked a lot? I know immediately where
I liked watching Benimaru and the ogres just lay waste to the orcs.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That orc battle was just insane though because nobody was really expecting them to start eating all the dead people, all the dead orcs around them to just keep getting stronger, and they were just endless. Which the way that war came to its end is kind of what I was hoping for in a way. Of everybody else was keeping up with the general, and then out of nowhere Rimuru shows up and just like a boss just takes over the rest of the fight.
It was very satisfying.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you get to see Great Sage fight.
Oh yeah, which Great
One
Sage?
of my other. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say Great Sage actually didn't even finish the fight. Rimuru took over the end because he realized how to defeat the Orc Overlord because of Great Sage.
Yeah. I also really like the fight between Gabta and Gabiru.
Mm-hmm.
That was so fantastic. You won't get any more food if you don't win.
No, if you lose, you have to eat Shion's food.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you win, I'll have what's his
Kaijin.
face? Yeah, make you a new weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have Kaijin make him a special weapon. He immediately gets all hyped up. So I'm gonna fucking own you.
Homie shadow steps. Just casually just shadow steps behind him and delivers a nasty kick.
Oh yeah, that was actually a very wild turn of events because they all were basically like, yeah, Gobta should still win, but he shouldn't win that fast. And then he shadow stepped, and they were like, when did he learn to do that?
Homeboy broken.
He's just persistent because they talk about it a couple different times that he is just naturally talented at figuring things out, like being able to learn that his direwolf he could call upon at any point by having his direwolf shadow step into his shadow, and then he could summon him whenever he wanted to, or being able to shadow step himself. Like he's learning a lot of really crazy abilities.
Which he had to figure out how to summon it because he got left in Dorgon.
Oh yeah,
I'm wondering, right? We see Gobta pull out these that new move, right? I wonder how much of that is like because of the naming from, like all of that has to be from the naming from Rimuru, right?
You would think so. Maybe as they get named, they continue on with the voice of the earth, continuing to modify them as it's got to do with something with like they get their abilities like fully unlocked. It's almost like the you only use 10% of your brain type of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like until you get named, like all of your power is kind of restricted from you, and as he gets his power unlocked by the naming, it allows him to continue to learn and ever evolve, and maybe even better than he could have normally.
I just can't wait to see how strong all of the subordinates get. It's gonna be epic.
Same.
I mean, Rimuru just continues to get stronger and stronger and stronger, so they have to be. They're training all the time.
Right, and there's probably a link between him and those that he's named.
Yeah, that's fair. Bringing up a fight again. I have to bring up Rimuru's fight with Malim.
Fight.
If you can call it a fight.
Right.
Because a demon lord shows up because she's bored and needs something to do, and then she basically is going to waste you, and in response you talk your way out of it by pretending that honey is like a magical sweet treat that she'll never be able to get otherwise. So she sells off basically any ability to harm Rimuru, the town. She's supposed to be on her best behavior, and traded it for some honey.
It's because they're besties for resties.
Right?
They're besties for resties.
That was such a wonderful moment when Rimuru was like, this woman scares me and I will agree with whatever she says as long as it doesn't hinder me. And it's like, we're besties, right? Yes, we are besties for resties. This is my friend Malim.
The fact that he could just boss around a demon lord's hilarious.
He blows everybody's mind about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Which her best behavior being somebody said she was small and then she beats the shit out of him. What? He said I was short. He didn't call me
holding back.
Yeah, which you do find out later on in her next big fight that she has. Holy shit, if she's holding back, it's still not good for you. Which Rimuru could tell instantly that she was infinitely more powerful than he was. Because they talk about the aura that Rimuru emits, and it's unbelievably powerful because of Valdora being inside of him. Which we didn't even talk about the fact that that energy field missing from the forest is actually kind of what's causing a lot of this movement of the different creatures and monsters, because the power shift has changed.
Right. It's also why the demon lords are starting to get involved.
Right. It's a little bit different, though, because they didn't think about the fact that because of what he's doing, he's drawing as much attention as he is, and they don't even realize at first that, hey, we have one demon lord who's already here. Like, who else is looking? Which I'm still kind of
don't
excited
forget
to...
another demon lord subordinate got laid out in Tempest.
Oh, absolutely, he did.
Yeah,
By
but
Malim.
Yeah. So that's probably going to have ramifications of some sort of consequence,
I mean, kind of. They
Well,
had a...
It leads to a non-aggression pact.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the... Malim made a total fool and mockery out of him, so he was very vulnerable, and another demon lord sent his subordinates to corrupt him, and I always want to say calamitous is what I want to call it.
Charybdis.
But it's Charybdis, and I just feel like it's... I mean, it is supposed to be essentially a calamity, but...
Merry Charybdis.
Merry Charybdis. Merry Crisis.
Merry Chrysler.
These clowns appear to the subordinates of one of the demon lords in the middle of the night as he is fuming and venting that Lady Malim was going to pay for treating him that way, that he is going to be a demon lord one day and he's going to show her what's up. And these clowns kind of just show up out of nowhere, who the one is a subordinate of another demon lord. And that demon lord is trying to undercut a different demon lord to release Charybdis from his resting place where he's trapped at.
Mm-hmm.
So he ends up using like a fusel of their bodies to bring him out, and they totally take advantage of the fact that he's super pissed at Malim. And whenever they learn that Charybdis is on the way from the Dryads, because the Dryads, being within the forest and making that pact with Rimuru, were able to warn him very quickly about it. And I do love the fact that Malim got completely cut out, and she gets so upset about it because all she wants to do is fight stuff. But as the things go on, you know, we have this really epic fight that's going on. All the flying. What did they literally? I forget. Did they literally call them? I want to say mastodons, but that's not correct. It's
No, you're right.
megalodons. Isn't
Megalodons. Yeah. Megalodons.
Yeah, megalodons.
Megalodons.
It's not mastodons. It's megalodons.
Not mastodons. Megalodons. Mastodons is a totally different animal.
That's elephants. That's elephants.
Elephants.
But
Elephants?
these dude, elephants are. I would love to have a elephant, bro. They're just way too expensive. There's no way I could afford that fucking thing.
Right? Me too, man.
But the megalodons flying, so they actually the dryads actually tell them, hey, you're going to need an aerial army. So they actually, because Rimuru has made a pact with the Dwarven King, which I still am real sketchy on that dude, by the way, because he shows up to the city after a different cutscene shows up where they say that Rimuru is too powerful, and then they show up because they want to gauge the strength of their town and Rimuru, and they get into a fight, and he manages to block his move, and then he kind of seems like he's, you know, starting to play ball and starting to learn about their town and about Rimuru, and then now he's calling Rimuru his, like, apprentice, and it's like, you know, that's really not what's going on. They're actually, like, equals in a way, at least by ruling body state, because that's when...
Well, Dorgon's a much bigger city, or kingdom.
Empire, essentially, yeah.
Who do you think would win in a fight? Dorgon? Like Gazelle, or
Gazelle,
Remo?
yeah.
Or Rimuru.
At this point, when they meet, that fight, I mean, unless maybe Great Sage kicks in, I'm pretty sure Gazelle would win.
I don't know, man. I think
We
Rimuru's got
didn't
it.
see Rimuru use Predator.
I was gonna say, but
Well, yeah, I mean that's fair, but Predator's
Like
broken.
in an all-out fight to the death.
In a just normal fight, I say Gazelle. If he's
In an
gonna use
all-out
Predator,
fight to the death.
obvious. Yeah, well, yeah, if death is on the line,
Rimuru wins
Rimuru.
that hands down.
yeah.
Now-
But
alright,
if it's not to the death, I'm putting my money on Gazelle.
now that we're talking about broken abilities, I have to bring it up because, you know, the question would get asked eventually by somebody would be, who's gonna win, Rimuru's Predator or Gojo?
Okay, so current Rimuru.
We don't have the Gojo expert anymore.
I think current Rimuru doesn't have, like, season 1 Rimuru doesn't have the juice.
No, I think Gojo beats him before Predator eats him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Rimuru doesn't have the juice.
Being able to use Infinity, he's gonna be able to get out of it before anything can happen.
Well, so Infinity to me would act kind of like the
Like the barrier for
the
Veldora.
barrier. Yeah, Veldor's barrier. Yeah, of course you're not gonna touch Gojo, but him and his Infinity are gonna be inside of him.
Correct. That's where I wonder if he'd be able to analyze him or not, because with the Infinity, I don't know if he'd actually be able to analyze him, because all they'd be able to analyze is the Infinity. But maybe if they analyze it, they can.
Well,
get
yeah,
past
but
it.
correct. If you can analyze Infinity, you could get past it. Eventually, he'd figure out a way. Because neither of you have watched it, or no, you watched season 1, so.
Yeah, I
But
watched
yeah,
season 1.
never mind. No more. I'm not spoiling JJK for you, so I'm done. But anyway,
Ask me in a couple seasons about
Yeah.
the Gojo Rimuru fight.
Okay, fair. Were there any
honestly, I still don't know after season 3. I'm not sure.
Were there any just like
Maybe.
memorable like
Season 3
conflicts?
Rimuru bodies.
Maybe.
Were there any like big conflicts for you guys that you really weren't expecting, or like you really liked? I really liked how Kaijin ended up becoming part of the town. With
Yeah.
him just throwing hands because of an arrogant asshole.
Yeah,
Like
Vesta.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good.
Yeah, because Rimuru's like, oh, I don't want to hit him. I don't want to cause trouble for Kaijin. And then Kaijin just decks him.
Kaijin's like, I don't care. I'll do it.
But they were friends early on, so this is like an ongoing conflict that's been happening of just somebody who's so passionate about their project that they've been led astray and they don't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big conflict that I'm glad kind of resolved itself the way that it did, especially with later on joining the city.
Yeah, Vesta is coming to the city is one of the best things that happens.
I like the fact that they were
agreed.
able to reproduce the health potions that Rimuru is able to make inside of himself with the analysis and predator skills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Vesta, he's very smart in many ways. So it's great that he's there.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're allies, he's still technically serving Gaza, which is what he dreams of.
Mm-hmm. Because that was the task that was given, is to support Rimuru, which is basically directly impacting the long-term goal of please my king. Mm-hmm. So makes sense. What about any big plot twists that you guys really liked that you didn't see coming or anything? Like I was not expecting.
I mean, the first big plot twist is that naming is a thing.
Mm-hmm. I didn't expect he was going to have to essentially use Predator on the person that he thought he was going to spend the rest of his life with.
Right, yeah. The psychic shows him that Shizu was going to spend his life with Shizu or something like that. They were going to be together or something. And then he finally meets her, but then she succumbs to Ifrit inside of her. So Rimuru gives her peace instead of dying in that world.
Mm-hmm. Because she was summoned there. She was literally in World War II. She was taken out of literally a bombing raid.
Mm-hmm. Which, I guess, if you think about it, they are together forever now.
You're not wrong. That's kind of the sad part about it is, yes, they are together forever now, but not in the way that Rimuru was hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be realistic, though. Rimuru likes being a player and having just boobs on his head all the time.
He gets so many boobs on his head, it's ridiculous.
He talks so much about the fact that he's been held by more girls since he became a slime than whenever he was a human.
Homie's living the dream, let's be honest here.
There are also women fighting over him, so just wanting to hold him. It's a crazy turn.
Homie's living the dream.
I already covered it, and I'm kind of curious for you guys what yours would be of what actually sold the show for you. For me, it was the Valdora scene, and once they got to the Goblin Village and they started rebuilding and the direwolves got their names and the goblins all got their names and transformed, that was when the show was like 100% sold for me.
So for me, and it's probably going to be somewhat similar for Jax, I'm a big Isekai fan, so I was already gonna be sold on it, but I love the character Rimuru. I love it. I love him.
So there is a trope in isekais with the main protagonist, the MC, right, being unwilling to kill their opponent. What sold the show for me was
so he's
just
Batman,
mercilessly killing.
Oh no, he's not Batman.
Just mercilessly killing the direwolf leader. Just
right, yeah. That
I don't
that
care.
was a
You're
big.
dead. I'm just like, he doesn't actually care about killing his opponents. He will actually just murk them. I'm cool with this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking more on the lines of like normally in the isekai aspect, they're more of like a Batman. Like I can't do that, and Rimuru's like,
right,
fuck.
Yeah, it's
Rimuru's like, you're fucking with me. You're dead.
Yeah, if you get in between him and his goals, you're dead.
Which, let's be realistic, his goal is to not do anything, and somehow he just keeps getting more and more responsibility.
Correct. He just wants to relax and have peace, and he just keeps getting all the responsibility shoved into his lap.
Jim Bob, just wait until season 2.
That's what I'm kind of excited for because Jay-Z said the same thing. He was like, just wait. He was like, he's Chancellor right now, but just wait.
Season 2 is my favorite season of any anime ever.
I don't know that I could say that, but it's up there.
It is. I'm hella biased because this is my favorite anime, but like the second season is like my favorite season of any anime.
Damn, so this has got to be a pretty impactful season then, because I
You
mean,
have no idea.
because I brought it up to you guys because you guys said whenever we were watching Dorohedoro, like, oh my god, like this show has so much stuff going on in every episode. Like one episode feels like 2 episodes. That's kind of how I felt about this though. Like there was so much stuff that happens.
Season 2 sets the stage for a much larger story.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like this show needs it with how it's going. Like I feel like there is
a lot of information that you are going to be taking in season 2. A lot of information.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is that like just the larger storyline has been kind of just being shadowed by what's going on right now.
It's been hinted at.
So to me, the biggest difference though is a lot of the information you get from Slime is kind of straightforward, more or less. Some of it's a little thinky, but Dorohedoro had you thinking a lot. Like, why is this going this way, or why would this do that? You know, that's why it felt like there was so much more each episode of Dorohedoro to me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean they did leave you kind of in the dark with a lot of things and drop little plot twists on you. I think for a pretty straightforward of rewatch or regret, you both have already rewatched this how many times now?
I think 4 for me.
It's somewhere between 6 and 8.
Damn, okay. I think I'm going to go a little bit contrary to this one. I'm not going to say regret because I don't regret watching it at all, but I have to think that this is not going to be one I'm going to rewatch a lot. I feel like I just enjoyed it. I feel like it would be one I would recommend a lot, but I really don't think I would jump at rewatching this one.
That's totally fair. This is one show that I would definitely recommend anyone who is a fan of like the isekai genre. If you haven't watched it, give it a watch. I don't know. I think it's a very good show. It's very entertaining, and I think it has a lot to offer to people who like different things in anime.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I agree. I personally, I know it's your favorite, but I wouldn't say it is the best isekai, in my opinion. But it is one of probably the top 3, I may say. 3 or 4.
Just because something is my favorite doesn't mean that it's the best.
That's fair. That's also very fair.
This is most of my opinions are very, very subjective. You know, like it's.
I feel like that's just what an opinion is it's just a way for somebody else to...
It's not like I'm stating like my opinion is a fact. It's just, in my opinion, this is my favorite anime. This is what I think is peak, you know?
I can see that.
You guys will never watch Real Peak.
Which show are you talking about?
What do you think?
Yu Yu Hakusho. Because that is peak right there.
You've already watched it. I said you two will never watch Real Peak. Even though I would love it.
Subbed?
No.
I'm very lost now. That's what I was kind of expecting.
So am I. What are you getting at?
What are you
One Piece.
Oh, no. Not doing it. Look,
I've
did
watched
the math.
Half of it.
We've done the math. And for me to catch up on that show, it's like 8 months as a literal job. It's like 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
I watched 700 episodes in 3 months.
Look, I know we're known as the binge watch brigade, but I got a limit, broski. I don't know if I can do that. I think I'll start forgetting everything I saw.
I haven't forgotten a single thing.
On average, I think you watched probably like what? You'd had to have watched like what? 12 episodes a day?
At least.
So like you'd have to watch like your standard anime season, right? Like your 12 episode core. every single day for 2 months.
Listen, it started semi-slow, but then once I hit, like, I think it was episode 51, there's something that happens that literally made me a diehard fan right then and there.
Oh.
And after that, I never stopped, never looked back.
I mean,
I refuse to get to I don't know. It kind of bored me.
I watched episodes as they came out during their original airing. I remember growing up with it. I remember Zorro was the character that really got me into the show just because I thought it was insane that a dude was fighting with a sword in his teeth and 2 other swords. But
3-sword style.
But looking at, ratings-wise, I'm actually curious to see, like, what on your list that time I got reincarnated as a slime would be better than. Because, Aaron, we know that this is, if not your favorite, one of your favorites. So this would be in your top 3 easily.
This is it currently in the number 1 spot.
So this is obviously Aaron's number 1. Jay-Z, what would you say that on your list this is definitely, like, better than, or you would watch this over?
It's definitely in my top 10. There is a good chance it's a top 5.
Okay.
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I think it's better than.
I could definitely say I could see this being in my top 10. I definitely can't see this being in my top 5, but I can definitely see this being somewhere in my top 10.
Maybe.
This is currently
as of season 1, I can say it's definitely not in my it's not in my top 5, but I could definitely see putting it in my top 10.
Well, if you put it that way, it was probably top 15 for season 1 and then moved up to top 10 to top 5 after season 2.
Okay.
Season 3 put it into the number 1 spot.
For a lot of people that I see on the internet, it dropped it out of their top 10s.
That's insane to me. Season 3 was so good. Not as good as season 2.
I'm with you.
But still really good.
Honestly, if you're talking about certain things, it might actually be better.
Fair.
Yeah.
But that's a conversation for another episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, very excited for our next episode. If we have any Yu-Gi-Oh fans out there, I feel like you're going to like this next one. Mm-hmm. I definitely feel like it has that Yu-Gi-Oh vibe. I decided that with going and progressing forward, Jay-Z brought the podcast to me as a way to broaden our horizons and really make us watch things that we were never expecting to watch or wouldn't normally watch ourselves. Jay-Z, you brought forward Blue Lock, which surprised all of us who watched it. We never expected it to be as good as it was, especially with us not having a super diehard interest in soccer. Yeah, I played it growing up. I was on a team until 4th grade, but I did not expect I was going to like that show as much as I did. And
There's so much hype.
Oh, there's so much hype in Blue Lock. If for those of you who have listened to our Blue Lock episode, that show is unbelievable. It's so good. But our newest show that we just started that I had to recommend because it was one that I had been looking at for a while and wouldn't normally watch it right away, Hikaru no Go. It's a game about the board game Go. If you've never heard of it, look it up. It's like the oldest board game still in circulation, national board game of South Korea. Originated in China or Japan. I can never remember which one. I think it was China. I believe it was China. But it's actually a game that I've actually been debating on starting for a long time. I've been looking at boards for quite a while, and watching the show really amped me up and has actually made me want to learn more about the strategy to the game. And it's got a really cool story so far, and I really think that it's one that I'll be really excited to record on. So get ready for that next episode.
I'm excited.
Same.
Absolutely. And I think on that one, I appreciate everybody being around for this episode. We were really excited to get this one recorded because we all really liked the show a lot. Aaron, thank you so much for the recommendation on this one. Hikaru no Go. I'm so excited to start next.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Again, not a rewatch, but absolutely I would recommend this to anyone. 100% anyone.
Yeah, it's a good like kind of cozy. It's kind of like a cozy anime, if I'm being honest. Like I felt it was cozy.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Thank you guys again for joining in. Join us on that next one. Have a great one. Thanks for listening.
Later.
Deuces.